Breaking point. The observation deck of Harmony Station offered a breathtaking view of the nebula cloud that stretched across the solar system. But Ambassador Elena Chen didn't notice the swirling colors today. Her dark eyes were fixed on the datapad in her hands, reading the classified Federation document for the third time to be certain she hadn't misunderstood. She hadn't. After 15 years of so-called peace negotiations with the Allied Galactic Federation, after countless concessions from Earth, after all the diplomatic smiles and handshakes, this was their true intention. The Federation had been planning to gradually colonize Earth all along, using the negotiations as a distraction while they positioned their assets. Elena placed the datapad carefully on the table before her. The 7 alien representatives seated across from her continued their discussion about trade route adjustments, unaware that their secret had been exposed. High Commander Velix of the Artillery was speaking, his silver-scaled skin catching the light as he gestured with multiple limbs. The human colonies on Mars must adjust their shipping lanes to accommodate Federation traffic, Velix was saying. This is a reasonable request. Elena had heard enough. For 15 years, she had played by their rules, believing that patience would eventually earn humanity a place at the table. She had been wrong. No, she said quietly. The word cut through the chamber like a blade. 7 alien faces turned toward her in surprise. I beg your pardon, Ambassador Chen, asked Meridian Sorrel, the Federation's chief diplomat. Her translucent tentacles swirled in what Elena had learned was an expression of confusion. I said no. Elena stood slowly, her black diplomatic uniform immaculate as always. Humanity will not be adjusting our shipping lanes. In fact, as of this moment, Earth and all human colonies are formally withdrawing from these negotiations and all agreements with the Allied Galactic Federation. The chamber erupted in voices. Some delegates demanded explanation. Others laughed as if she'd made a joke. Senior Ambassador Krell, a massive being of living stone, let out a sound like grinding boulders, their equivalent of dismissive laughter. Ambassador Chen, please sit down, Krell rumbled. We all get frustrated sometimes, but dramatic statements help no one. Elena didn't sit. Instead, she held up the datapad, turning it to show the screen to the delegates. This document outlines the Federation's plan to systematically colonize Earth over the next 20 years while continuing these sham negotiations. The document bears the official seal of the High Council and the signatures of everyone in this room. The chamber fell silent. Velix's scales darkened, a sign of embarrassment in his species. That is merely a theoretical exercise, Meridian said quickly, her voice smooth despite the tension in her posture. The Federation considers many possible scenarios. Captain Maya Okafor, the second human representative, rose to stand beside Elena. Though younger than Elena by 15 years, Maya's face showed the same controlled anger as she spoke. Including scenarios where you violate our sovereignty after we provided crucial medical innovations that saved millions of your people during the Viridian Plague last year. Senior Ambassador Krell waved a stony appendage dismissively. Your contributions were minor. Without our guidance, your species would still be trapped on your single world, fighting over resources. Elena picked up the datapad and slid it into her uniform pocket. We have been patient. We have been respectful. For 15 years, humanity has requested equal status in the Federation. For 15 years, you have found reasons to delay. She looked at each alien representative in turn, committing their faces to memory. Humanity will no longer wait for your approval. Effective immediately, Earth withdraws from all agreements with the Allied Galactic Federation. The chamber erupted in noise again. Some Federation members shouted questions. Others insisted that humans couldn't legally withdraw. Meridian's tentacles turned a deep red, signaling alarm or anger. Elena raised her hand, and the entire human delegation, 12 representatives from Earth and its colonies, stood in unison. They began gathering their materials with practiced efficiency, as if they had rehearsed this moment. You need us. insisted Ambassador Javix of the Corellon Assembly, his voice clicking through his translator. Your colonies depend on Federation technology and protection. The void between stars is dangerous for a young species like yours. For the first time that day, Elena smiled slightly. We have learned much from our time with the Federation, perhaps more than you realize. Captain Okafor handed Elena a small device. She pressed it, and suddenly every screen in the room went dark. When they flickered back to life seconds later, all data about Earth, human territories, and human technologies had vanished from the Federation databases. We will protect what is ours, Elena said calmly. If the Federation wishes to establish new relations with humanity in the future, as equals, you may contact us. Until then, all diplomatic channels are closed. The human delegation walked out in perfect order. The doors of the chamber closed behind them with a soft hiss, leaving 7 stunned alien representatives staring at each other in confusion. Outside, in the secure corridor of their diplomatic vessel, Elena finally allowed her shoulders to relax slightly. After 15 years of careful words and diplomatic restraint, speaking the truth felt liberating. Send the signal to Earth, she told Captain Okafor. It's time for Operation Ascension. In the underground Strategic Command Center beneath New Geneva, the mood was tense but focused. Military leaders, scientists, and government officials from all human territories sat around a vast circular table, waiting silently. On the main display, a countdown timer showed exactly 7 minutes remaining. Admiral Weizhong stood at the head of the table, his uniform crisp despite the late hour. Ambassador Chen and the delegation have just departed Harmony Station, he announced. Operation Ascension is now active. The room filled with murmurs, some excited, others anxious. Humanity had prepared for this day for 10 years, but now that it had arrived, even the most confident felt the weight of the moment. The doors opened, and Dr. Samantha Rice rushed in, her lab coat rumpled, and her curly hair escaping its usual neat bun. Sorry I'm late, she said, taking the seat beside General Masterson. We just finished the final calibrations on the shield network. The general, a stern-faced woman with decades of military experience, nodded. Results. Dr. Rice smiled, her exhaustion momentarily forgotten. Better than projected. The quantum shields can withstand any weapons technology the Federation has demonstrated so far. The countdown reached 0, and Ambassador Chen's face appeared on the main screen. The backdrop showed she was already aboard the diplomatic vessel, heading back to Earth. The Federation reacted exactly as we anticipated, she reported. They believe we'll come crawling back within weeks. Admiral Zhang stepped forward. Then we proceed as planned. All stations begin Operation Ascension. Phase 1 commences immediately. Across Earth and throughout human colonies, carefully prepared plans sprang into action. In hidden facilities on Mars, Europa, and Titan, massive shield generators powered up, creating a protective barrier that encompassed all human territories. Ships that had been built in secret were deployed from underwater bases and asteroid hideaways. In her laboratory in Tanzania, Dr. Imani Kaburi monitored her team as they installed new propulsion systems in transport vessels. These engines were based on Federation designs, but with human innovations that made them 40% more efficient and virtually untraceable. Will 3 days be enough time to upgrade all essential vessels? Asked her assistant. Dr. Kaburi nodded, her focus unwavering. It has to be. The Federation will notice something's wrong when our regular supply ships don't arrive at their ports. In orbit above Mars, Commander Jackson Abrams received new orders on his patrol ship Guardian. He read them twice to be sure he understood. Navigation. Set course for the Proxima Centauri colony, he told his crew. We need to get there before the Federation realizes what's happening. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Rivera, looked concerned. Proxima Centauri. That's outside our normal patrol sector. Not anymore, Commander Abrams said. Our defense perimeter just expanded. Every human settlement needs to be brought under our protection, now that the Federation won't be helping us. In Washington, D.C., the United Earth Council held an emergency session. President Lai addressed the world leaders gathered there, her voice steady as she explained the situation. For too long, the Allied Galactic Federation has treated us like children, she said. They have taken our resources, used our innovations, and given us little in return. Today, we reclaim our independence. Some leaders looked concerned. What if they attack us? Asked the Prime Minister of the African Union. General Masterson stood. We've been preparing our defenses for years. The Federation doesn't know what we're capable of because we've never shown them our true strength. Throughout human space, from Earth to the farthest colonies, people received new instructions. Ships changed course. Hidden defense systems came online. A message spread from person to person. Stand ready. Protect what is ours. We are no longer alone. Back in New Geneva, Admiral Zhang studied the star map showing all human territories. Phase 1 is underway, he said to his team. We have 6 months before the Federation realizes what they've lost. Dr. Rice looked up from her console. What about the rare mineral shipments? The Federation depends on those for their quantum communications network. Admiral Zhang's expression was serious. That's precisely the point, Doctor. Sometimes people only value what they no longer have. On Harmony Station, the Grand Council chamber seemed eerily quiet. 5 of the 7 Federation representatives sat at their elevated positions, 2 seats remaining conspicuously empty as they waited for the others to arrive. This is a waste of time, said Ambassador Javix, his exoskeleton clicking in irritation. The humans will return soon enough. Why call an emergency meeting? Senior Ambassador Krell, whose rocky form occupied a reinforced chair, looked troubled. His crystalline eyes glinted with unusual concern. It has been 2 weeks. Not a single human ship has been detected at any trading post or jump gate in Federation space. The massive doors slid open, and High Commander Velix entered with Meridian Sorrel. They took their seats at the circular table. Let us begin, Velix said, his silver scales dulled with fatigue. The humans have completely withdrawn from Federation space. All communication channels are closed. Meridian's tentacles writhed in agitation. They are acting like children. We should teach them a lesson. What do you suggest? Asked Krell, his voice rumbling through the chamber. Send warships to Earth, suggested one of the junior representatives. Show them the consequences of defiance. For what purpose? Countered Krell. They have broken no laws. They have resource contracts they must honor, Javix insisted. My people need the rare minerals from their asteroid belt. Velix raised 2 of his limbs for silence. I propose we freeze all human assets in Federation banks and restrict their access to jump gates. When they cannot trade or travel, they will quickly understand their mistake. The vote was quick and nearly unanimous. 6 Federation members agreed immediately. Only Krell hesitated before adding his vote. It is decided, Velix announced. The humans will learn they cannot survive without the Federation's protection and guidance. Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, news about the human withdrawal spread. Some found it amusing that such a young species would challenge the Federation. Others simply didn't care. Humans were inconsequential in the grand scheme of galactic politics. In a bustling market on Harmony Station, a Navarian merchant laughed with his trading partner over drinks. Good riddance, he said. Those humans never respected our customs, always asking questions, always wanting to change things. His partner, a Zorian with iridescent skin, nodded in agreement. They will return. Where else can they sell their goods? Who else will protect them from the Scourge Raiders? At Federation Military Command, General Thex reviewed the latest reports. The massive 4-armed alien had fought in 2 galactic conflicts and respected strength above all else. Have the humans moved their defense fleet? He asked his aide. No, General. Their ships remain in their solar system, but they have gone silent. No communications, no response to hails. Thex made a low humming sound. a sign of suspicion in his species. Keep watching them. I do not trust this sudden withdrawal. In the Federation Economic Ministry, reports began to arrive about unexpected problems. Luxury foods that came only from Earth were no longer available in markets. Construction projects were delayed because specialized Earth alloys had not arrived. 3 entertainment networks canceled popular programs because the human writers had returned to Earth. Minister Plorn dismissed these concerns with a wave of his tentacle. Temporary adjustments, he told his staff. Find replacements. 2 weeks became 4, then 6. The Federation expected to hear from Earth any day with humans begging to return to their protection. But no messages came. In the private chambers of the Federation Council, Velex met with the other leaders. Perhaps we should send an envoy to Earth, suggested Krell, to open a dialogue. Javix laughed, a rattling sound that echoed through the room. And appear weak. Never. They will contact us first. And if they don't, asked Krell. Then they will suffer the consequences of their pride, said Velex. A species as young as humanity cannot survive long in this galaxy without our guidance. It is simply a matter of time. As they spoke, a junior aide entered the room and handed Meridian a report. The diplomat read it quickly, her tentacles losing their color. We have received news from the border near human space, she said slowly. The Scourge Raiders have attacked one of our mining outposts. The station was destroyed. Where were our patrols? Demanded Velex. Meridian looked up from the report. That sector was usually guarded by human ships. Silent strength. The emergency alarms woke General Thex from his rest cycle. He rushed to the command center of the Federation Defense Station, his 4 arms instinctively checking his weapons as he moved. The large tactical display showed a red alert near what used to be the human border. Report, he demanded. His second-in-command, Commander Lyril, looked troubled. 3 more mining stations have been attacked by Scourge Raiders, sir, all in the same sector. Casualties, 57 dead, 23 missing, all resource containers stolen. Thex growled, showing his sharp teeth. Where are our defense ships? We sent a response fleet, but they arrived too late. Again. Lyril pulled up a tactical map on the main screen. The raiders are hitting targets here, here, and here, all places where human patrol ships used to guard our interests. It had been 3 months since the humans withdrew from the Federation. At first, Federation leaders thought it was a minor problem that would resolve itself. Now, they weren't so sure. Send a message to Earth, Thex ordered. Demand they explain their absence from the patrol routes. An hour later, Lyril returned with a response. The screen showed only text. Diplomatics Illis Silost. Human Defense Force no longi or PRVYD is services to the Allied Galactic Federation. In another part of Federation space, Guildmaster Ziver stood in her empty warehouse. 6 months ago, this building had been filled with luxury goods from Earth. Coffee beans, chocolate, handcrafted items that wealthy aliens coveted. Now the shelves were bare. My customers are getting angry, she told her assistant. They want their Earth products. Her assistant, a small blue-skinned CD, checked his data tablet. We have tried to contact Earth trading companies 12 times. They do not answer. Zivera walked to the window and looked out at the trading port. Many ships sat idle, their crews with nothing to do. Before the humans left, this port had been bustling with activity day and night. It is not just the luxury items, she said quietly. The repair shops have no work because the human engineers are gone. The entertainment venues are half empty because the human performers left. On the Federation homeworld of Harmony Prime, a group of business leaders demanded to see the council. After waiting 5 days, they were finally admitted to the Grand Chamber. The humans must be brought back, insisted Trax, owner of the largest shipbuilding company in Federation space. My production is down 70% without human workers. My research team cannot function without human scientists, added Professor Nelia, head of the Advanced Technology Institute. They think differently than any species we know. They find solutions we would never consider. Velix listened with growing frustration. We have sent 8 diplomatic messages to Earth. They respond with the same automated message each time. The humans refuse to speak with us. Then offer them something, suggested Trax. They clearly want better terms. Meridian's tentacles waved angrily. We do not negotiate with those who disrespect the Federation. The humans will return when they have learned their lesson. As they argued, a junior member of the council staff entered and whispered something to Krell. The rock-like ambassador's crystalline eyes dimmed, a sign of serious concern. We have a new problem, Krell announced to the chamber. The shipment of quantum element did not arrive. Again. The room fell silent. Quantum element was essential for faster-than-light communications. Without it, Federation ships could not coordinate across vast distances, and their advanced AI systems would eventually fail. How much reserve do we have? Asked Velix. At current usage rates, less than 4 months, Krell said. We need to find a new source. Meanwhile, on Earth, the Strategic Command Center hummed with activity. Admiral Zhang reviewed the latest reports with his team. The Federation has sent 3 more diplomatic vessels to the edge of our space, he said, all carrying the same message, demands that we resume resource shipments immediately. President Lai, joining via secure link from Washington, smiled slightly. And our response remains the same. Yes, Madam President. Automated rejection of all communications. Dr. Reyes approached with a tablet displaying a complex schematic. The new quantum drive is ready for testing, Admiral. If it works as projected, we can reach Proxima Centauri in hours instead of days. And the Federation has no idea we've developed this technology. None. They still believe we're using their outdated drive designs. Beyond the orbit of Neptune, hidden from Federation sensors by advanced cloaking technology, a massive construction project was underway. The shipyard stretched for kilometers, building vessels unlike anything humans had publicly revealed. Commander Abrams stood on the observation deck of the construction hub, watching as robotic arms assembled the hull of what would become humanity's first true battleship. Beautiful, isn't she? Asked a voice behind him. He turned to see Captain Okafor, recently promoted after her return from the Federation diplomatic mission. The Defiance, Abrams said, nodding. Fitting name. There are 12 more like her under construction throughout the system, Okafor said, moving to stand beside him, plus the defense platforms around each colony. Do you think the Federation will actually attack us? Abrams asked. Okafor's expression grew serious. Eventually, they'll get desperate enough to try. That's why we're making sure they'll regret it if they do. On Mars, Dr. Kebera's team had transformed an entire crater into a manufacturing facility. Thousands of workers and robots constructed advanced shield generators and weapon systems that had been designed but never revealed during the years of Federation partnership. Production is ahead of schedule, Dr. Kebera reported during the daily briefing. All human colonies will have full defensive capabilities within 3 weeks. Ambassador Chen, now serving as Earth's strategic director, nodded in approval. And the new colonies beyond Federation space. The first 3 settlements are established and self-sufficient, General Masterson reported, completely undetected by Federation sensors. The Terra Nova colony in the Epsilon Eridani system already has 2,000 inhabitants. In a secure room beneath the Federation Council building on Harmony Prime, the 7 representatives met in private. The mood was tense. We may have underestimated the humans, admitted Javix, his exoskeleton clicking nervously. They cannot survive on their own, insisted Meridian. It is impossible. Krell studied a data tablet showing reports from across Federation space. With respect, it seems we are the ones facing difficulties. Perhaps it is time to consider that we need the humans more than they need us. Velix stared out the window at the gleaming city below. After a long moment, he spoke. Prepare a diplomatic vessel. We will send an envoy to Earth with our terms. Terms? Asked Javix. What terms? Whatever it takes to bring them back, Velix said quietly. Within reason. The Federation diplomatic ship Concord approached the edge of Earth's solar system. Ambassador Laurel of the Meridian species stood on the bridge, practicing the speech she would deliver to human leaders. Her mission was simple: convince the humans to return to Federation space. We are receiving a message from Earth Defense Command, the communication officer announced. On screen, ordered Ambassador Laurel. A human woman appeared on the main display. She wore a dark blue uniform with gold insignia. Federation vessel, this is Admiral Y. Zong of Earth Defense Force. State your business. Ambassador Laurel bowed slightly. Admiral, I bring a message from the Allied Galactic Federation. We wish to reopen diplomatic talks with Earth. Admiral Zhang's face remained impassive. Transmit your message. We will review it. I am authorized to speak directly with your leaders, Laurel said. Transmit your message, Zhang repeated firmly. You are not cleared to enter Earth space. Any attempt to proceed beyond this point will be considered hostile action. The screen went dark, leaving Ambassador Laurel staring in disbelief. On Earth, Admiral Zhang sat in the command center with President Lai and the leadership team. They reviewed the Federation's message together. They offer us limited autonomy, said President Lai, reading from the screen. And a 15% reduction in resource quotas. Is that supposed to impress us? General Masterson asked with a short laugh. After they plan to colonize our world. They're desperate, said Dr. Rice, pointing to the final paragraph. Look at this part. They specifically request immediate resumption of quantum element shipments. Admiral Zhang nodded. Just as we predicted. 6 months without our mineral exports, and their communications network is starting to fail. In the Federation Council chamber, Ambassador Laurel presented her findings to the 7 leaders. The humans refused direct talks, she reported. They simply took our message and ended communication. Did they at least review our terms? Demanded Velix. They said they would, but I received no response. In another part of the council building, Chief Scientist Morden presented his findings to a concerned group of officials. His tentacle-like appendages moved nervously as he spoke. We have searched 22 star systems, he said. Quantum element exists in only 4 locations outside human territory. Then we will extract it from those locations, said Meridian impatiently. Morden projected images onto the large display. The first location is deep underwater on a high-gravity world. The second is near the core of a highly unstable planet. The third is in an asteroid field that is dangerously radioactive. The fourth is on a world with a toxic atmosphere. Velix leaned forward. Your point, Chief Scientist. We can mine these locations, but the cost would be at least 7 times higher than buying from humans, and we would need specialized equipment that only humans have developed. The chamber grew quiet. Krell finally broke the silence. So we need humans not just for the element itself, but for their technology and innovation. I have one more finding to report, said Morden. Our archaeology team discovered something unusual while studying ancient artifacts. He displayed a new image on the screen, a stone tablet covered with symbols that looked remarkably like early human writing. This tablet is from the ancient ruins on Proxima IV. It is over 15,000 years old. Morden explained. The writing refers to beings called the shepherds who came from the stars to help the native species survive a planetary disaster. Javix's compound eyes widened. What does this mean? We are still analyzing the evidence, said Morden, but we have found similar references on 6 other worlds. In each case, the descriptions match human physiological characteristics. Are you suggesting humans were spacefaring 15,000 years ago? Meridian asked incredulously. The evidence is preliminary, Morden cautioned, but it appears that humans may have been traveling between stars long before any current Federation species. They may have deliberately hidden their true history from us. The council chamber erupted in shocked voices. In Earth orbit, the space station Prometheus rotated slowly against the backdrop of the blue planet. Inside, Ambassador Chen met with representatives from all human colonies. The chamber was filled with civilian and military leaders from across human space. "The Federation diplomatic ship is still waiting at the edge of our system," she reported. "They have sent 5 more messages asking to speak with our leaders." "What are our orders?" asked Commander Abrams. President Lai entered the room with Admiral Zhang. "We let them wait a bit longer," the president said with a small smile. "Let them experience how it feels to be ignored." Admiral Zhang activated a holographic star map in the center of the chamber. It showed human ships and settlements spread across space, far beyond Federation territory. "While they've been trying to contact us, we've established 7 new colonies outside their sensor range," he said, "and our scientists have made breakthroughs in propulsion and defense technology that the Federation can't even imagine." Ambassador Chen surveyed the assembled leaders. "The question now is, what do we want from the Federation? They need us more than we need them." A colony representative raised her hand. "Why not just leave them behind? We're doing fine on our own." Chen shook her head. "Because isolation isn't our goal. Working together is always better than working alone. But this time, we'll be partners, not servants." On the Concorde, Ambassador Laurel received new orders from the Federation Council. She read them with surprise. "Set course for Earth," she told her crew. "We have been authorized to offer them full Federation membership. Immediately. New understanding." The news spread quickly across Earth and all human colonies. The Allied Galactic Federation had offered full membership to humanity. After decades of being treated as lesser beings, humans were suddenly valued. In the Strategic Command Center in New Geneva, world leaders and military commanders gathered to discuss the offer. "It's a trap," said General Masterson. "They just want our quantum element and technology. Once they have what they need, they'll push us aside again." Ambassador Chen shook her head. "I don't think so. I've known some of these council members for 15 years. They're truly desperate." President Lai listened to everyone before speaking. "What do our intelligence reports say?" Dr. Rice activated a holographic display showing Federation space. "Their ships are breaking down without quantum element. 5 of their colonies have reported critical shortages because transport ships can't coordinate their movements. The Scourge Raiders have become bolder, attacking deeper into Federation territory." "Perfect time to negotiate," said Ambassador Chen with a satisfied expression. "Or perfect time for something else," suggested Admiral Zhang. He pressed a button on the table. "Captain Okafor, report please." Captain Okafor's face appeared on the main screen. She was clearly on the bridge of a ship, but the background showed unfamiliar stars. "Admiral, my fleet is in position near Harmony Prime. The Federation has no idea we're here. Our stealth technology works perfectly." The room fell silent. No one had expected this. "You positioned warships near the Federation homeworld?" President Lai asked, her eyes wide. "Without their knowledge." Admiral Zhang nodded, "Just as they positioned ships near Earth many times over the years. The difference is, they know we're watching them. They just don't know how close we are." On Harmony Prime, an emergency council session was underway. All 7 Federation leaders sat at their high table, surrounded by military and science advisors. "The humans have not responded to our offer of full membership," said Velix, his silver scales dulled with stress. "Then we must show our strength," said Javix, his exoskeleton clicking angrily. "We will send the Grand Fleet to Earth. A show of force will remind them who rules this galaxy." Krell looked appalled. "Are you suggesting we threaten them with war over quantum element?" "Not war," said Meridian soothingly. "Just a reminder that the Federation has protected them for decades. They owe us." Despite Krell's objections, the vote passed. The Federation would send 70 warships to Earth, the largest fleet gathered in a century. 3 days later, the massive Federation fleet emerged from hyperspace near Jupiter. Commander Drav of the flagship Dominance studied the blue planet visible in the distance. "Send the message to Earth," he ordered. "Inform them that the Federation fleet has arrived to escort their leaders to Harmony Prime for proper negotiations." His communication officer looked confused. "Sir, I'm detecting energy readings all around us, but I don't see any ships." Suddenly, defense platforms appeared around every planet and moon in the solar system. They had been invisible until now, hidden by technology the Federation had never encountered. "Sir," shouted his sensor operator, "human ships are decloaking. Hundreds of them, all around our fleet." Human warships appeared from nowhere. They had been there all along, watching and waiting. A human face appeared on the main screen. "Federation Vessel Dominance. This is Admiral Weizong of Earth Defense Force. You have entered Earth space with a military fleet. This is considered an act of aggression." Commander Drav stood straighter. "We come under Federation authority to." Zhang cut him off. "You have 30 minutes to reverse course and leave our solar system. This is not a negotiation." Drav studied the sensor readings again. The human ships were smaller than Federation warships, but there were many more of them, and their weapons were locked onto every Federation vessel. "They're bluffing," said his second-in-command. "Humans don't have weapons that can harm our ships." As if hearing these words, a small human ship fired a single shot into empty space. The energy blast was more powerful than anything Drav had ever witnessed. It could have destroyed his flagship with one hit. "Open a channel to all ships," Drav said quietly. "Order them to turn around. We're leaving." "But sir," the Council ordered. "The Council doesn't know what we're facing," Drav interrupted. "These are not the same humans we've dealt with before." As the Federation fleet turned around, Admiral Zhang sent one final message. "Next time, call ahead before visiting. It's only polite." The Federation Council chamber was completely silent. Commander Drav had just finished his report about what happened at Earth. The 7 Council members looked shocked. "They had hundreds of ships," Drav said, "all with technology we have never seen before. They could have destroyed our entire fleet." Velix's silver scales had turned almost white. Why didn't they attack? They had every advantage. "The humans simply wanted us to leave," Drav replied. "They showed their strength but chose not to use it." After Commander Drav left, the Council members looked at each other with new understanding. The humans had never been weak. They had been watching, learning, and building their strength in secret. "We have made a terrible mistake," said Krell, his crystalline eyes dimmed with regret. "For 15 years, we treated them like children. All that time, they could have struck at us, but didn't." In a different part of the Council building, Chief Scientist Morton worked with a team of researchers. They had spent weeks studying ancient records from all 7 Federation species. What they found was changing everything they thought they knew about humans. "Look at this," he said to his assistant. He displayed an ancient stone carving from the Arcturian homeworld. It showed tall bipedal beings that looked remarkably like humans. The writing calls them the shepherds who came from stars. "And this," he continued, showing a very old book from Meridian's people. It told stories of star guardians who helped them survive a terrible plague 20,000 years ago. Every Federation species had similar stories in their oldest records. Beings that looked like humans had visited their worlds long ago, helped each species survive disasters or develop important technologies, then disappeared. Morton prepared his report for the Council. The evidence was clear. Humans had been space travelers thousands of years before any current Federation species. For some unknown reason, they had retreated to Earth and remained there until recent times. On Earth, Dr. Rice worked in her lab deep under the Rocky Mountains. She studied a strange metallic artifact found decades ago in an ancient human city. The object was covered with writing no one could read, but it contained technology far more advanced than anything humans had developed themselves. "Are you sure about this?" asked President Lai. She had come to see the work personally. Dr. Rice nodded. The artifact is at least 30,000 years old. It belongs to us, to humans, but from a civilization we don't remember. Admiral Zhang joined them, examining the artifact with curious eyes. So the stories might be true. Humans had an advanced civilization, traveled the stars, helped other species, then something happened, and we forgot everything. It looks that way, said Dr. Reyes. The genetic tests confirm it. We have markers in our DNA that show advanced space adaptation from thousands of years ago. Ambassador Chen walked around the lab, looking at the ancient artifacts arranged on illuminated tables. The question is, do we tell the Federation what we found? That we were once caretakers of the galaxy? On Harmony Prime, Velix met with the other 6 council members in a private chamber. No staff or guards were permitted. They needed to make the most important decision in Federation history. We cannot fight the humans, said Javix. Our fleet commander made that clear. We need their quantum element, added Meridian. Without it, our civilization will suffer greatly. Krill stood up, his massive stone form casting shadows across the table. I believe we must do more than just make peace with the humans. We should offer them leadership of the Federation. The others looked shocked. Velix's scales rippled with emotion. Give leadership to humans, the newest species in the galaxy. Perhaps the oldest species, Krell corrected, displaying Chief Scientist Morden's report. Read this. All our histories tell the same story. Humans were among the stars long before us. They helped each of our species at crucial moments in our development. The council members read in silence. Their expressions changed from surprise to understanding and finally to a strange kind of relief. If this is true, said Velix slowly, then we have not been dealing with newcomers to galactic politics. No, said Krell. We have been rudely dismissing the elders of the galaxy, the ones who may have helped our ancestors survive. After lengthy discussion, they reached agreement. The Federation would send their highest representatives to Earth with full authority to negotiate any terms. There would be no tricks this time, no secret plans, just the honest truth. The galaxy needed humans. The Grand Meeting Hall in New Geneva was filled with people from Earth and visitors from across the galaxy. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, reflecting off polished wooden tables that had witnessed many historic moments in human history, but none as important as today. President Lai sat at the center of the human delegation. Ambassador Chen was at her right, while Admiral Zhang and General Masterson flanked her left. Across from them sat all 7 members of the Allied Galactic Federation Council, looking uncomfortable in Earth's gravity. Thank you for agreeing to meet on Earth, said President Lai, her voice calm and steady. We appreciate the journey you've made. Velix bowed his silver-scaled head slightly. We come with open hearts and honest intentions. The Federation wishes to correct its past mistakes. For 3 days, the 2 sides talked. There were no tricks or hidden agendas this time. The Federation admitted they had treated humans unfairly. They offered full membership with equal rights and respect for human territory. Ambassador Chen studied their faces as they spoke. After 15 years of dealing with the Federation, she could tell they were sincere. They had finally realized that humans were not just another young species to control. On the final day, President Lai signed the new treaty. It was simple and fair. Earth would rejoin galactic society as a full and equal member of the Federation. Human territory would be respected. Human innovations would be shared, but with fair payment and credit. There is one more thing, said Krell, the massive stone-like council member. We believe the leadership of the Federation should rotate among all members, and we suggest that Earth take the first turn as council leader. The room fell silent. This was unexpected. Humans had gone from being treated as children to being offered leadership of the galaxy. President Lai looked at her advisors, then back at the council. We appreciate the offer, but we don't seek to rule others. We only want partnership and respect. Meridian's tentacles moved with surprise. After how we treated you, you do not want revenge. Power over us. Admiral Zhang shook his head. That was never our goal. We withdrew from talks to protect ourselves, not to dominate you. After the Federation members left to prepare their ship, Ambassador Chen walked with Captain Okafor in the garden outside the meeting hall. Birds sang in the trees while diplomats from a dozen worlds discussed the new treaty nearby. I don't understand, said Okafor. We could have taken control of the Federation. Why didn't we? Chen watched a butterfly land on a nearby flower. Because that's not who we are. Humans don't need to control others to feel strong. Later that evening, at the celebration dinner, Velix approached Dr. Rice. The Federation leader seemed nervous. Your research into human history, Velix said quietly. Have you discovered why your people left the stars long ago? Why you returned to Earth and forgot your past? Dr. Rice smiled. We have theories. Some ancient texts suggest our ancestors chose to start over. They believed advanced technology was making us lose something important. What could be more important than progress? Asked Velix. Compassion. Creativity. The joy of discovery, Rice replied. Sometimes you need to step back to move forward in the right way. As the celebration continued, humans and aliens mingled together, sharing stories and ideas. In orbit above Earth, ships from 15 different species docked at the International Space Station. Among them were vessels from 5 species unknown to the Federation, civilizations that humans had discovered and befriended during their time away. Admiral Zhang stood with President Lai on the observation deck, watching the diverse gathering below. Do you think it will last? This new relationship, the Admiral asked. President Lai nodded. I do. The Federation needed to learn that real strength isn't about controlling others. It's about working together. Far across the galaxy, on worlds that neither humans nor the Federation had yet visited, other young species looked up at the stars. They were developing their first technologies, taking their first steps toward space travel. When they eventually reached the stars, they would find not an empire ruled by one dominant species, but a community of equals, and humans would be there to welcome them, just as they had welcomed others thousands of years ago. On the ancient artifact in Dr. Rice's lab, one symbol finally began to make sense. Translated, it read, to guide, not to rule. To help, not to control. This is the way of the shepherds. Humanity had come full circle. After forgetting their past, they had rediscovered their purpose, not through domination, but through standing firm for equality and respect. The stars were waiting, and this time, humans would remember who they truly were.